So the governor of Maine, Janet Mills, has responded to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and her claims that Maine refuses to stop boys from playing in girls' high school sports. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the governor of Maine, a Democrat, of course, Janet Mills, responding to our brand new U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and her claims that Maine refuses to stop boys from playing in girls' high school sports. Now, of course, this is part of a bigger issue of transgenders playing against the gender that they're not. And to be specific, I'm talking about biological men competing against women, biological boys competing against girls. It's never the other way around because, quote unquote, trans men, they do exist. That's a real thing. I've met them in real life. You never see biological women who now identify as men trying to compete against men in sports. Why? Because there's no advantage. There's no advantage. How can that be in any way successful? If they're going to play sports, they're going to play with their own gender because they be on an even playing field. When you're talking about boys and men now identifying as women and girls, competing against other real women and girls, when they're men and boys, gives them an advantage. It's so obvious. I don't understand why it's even a topic of discussion, but here we are. Here we are having to sue Maine over this. Now, before I get into what Janet Mills said in response to Pam Bondi, let's get into a little bit of testimonial because Janet Mills is going to try to say, oh, it's not really a big deal. It's a distraction, all this, that, and the third. But once you hear real stories, it's not so much of a distraction. Okay, let's go ahead and check this out. And of course, this video and the other video and all my sources will be in the description. If you're on IG, Facebook, etc., visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
My first experience was when I was 13 years old. I was going to change for gym and I walked into the locker room and there was a biological male there. From that point on, my junior year, I competed in Nordic skiing and lost to a biological male numerous of times. I am fighting this fight for generations to come.
Let's pause for a minute. Now, an argument that some will make, the pro-transgender side, the pro-LGBT side, they'll say, well, look, ABO, it's not that many of these people. It's like a fraction of a percent, 1%, 2% at best. The problem is that these people are often dominant, so it doesn't take that many of them to cause a disturbance. She said she lost to a male numerous of times. It probably was the same boy. And this boy beat all the girls. One boy can rise in the ranks and take out 100 girls in his wake. That's the problem.
And the fact that our governor can look the women of our state in the eyes and say, I'm not going to fight for you, is heartbreaking, and it's betrayal, like Riley said. I just want to thank all these women standing behind me and President Trump for fighting for us, because even though my own governor isn't fighting for me, I know there are people out there fighting for me.
Amen.
So I compete in soccer and indoor track and outdoor track. And like was mentioned previously today, I had to watch at the Maine Class B State Indoor Track Championship as my close friend and my teammate and other female competitors lost the state championship to a biological male. And this was heartbreaking for me to have to watch. And Riley said that it's betrayal, and that's what it is. It is the job of our elected officials to protect our young female athletes, and they have failed to do that.
And you know what? That should be a pretty simple task. I don't ask much of the government. I don't ask much, but to protect their citizenry should be a basic thing. It should be very basic, but they can't even do that. You want to do all these extra things aside from protecting your citizenry. I just did a video about the Maryland senator going to El Salvador, meeting with a gangbanger. Meanwhile, you have one of your constituents whose daughter, Rachel Morin, was taken away from this earth by a gangbanger. And you don't want to come to her aid. You don't want to do anything with her. You want to go get the gang member. These people in power have misplaced priorities. The priority should be the people. That's the reason why you're in office. Or are you in office for a different purpose? I digress.
We walk into sports expecting to have a level playing field, and to walk into the state championship to see a biological male there and to lose to a biological male, that's betrayal. And so I am extremely grateful to AG Bondi for standing up for us when our elected officials aren't doing that. And on behalf of the girl athletes in Maine, I just want to say thank you all, and I look forward to having a level playing field back after this fight. So thank you.
Right on. So shout out to these girls, young women, ladies, for sharing their points of view. I support women's rights in the real way, okay? In the real way, meaning to have their own spaces, to not be violated by men, to not have men in the dressing room, for them to be able to do their own thing on their own, okay, without being harassed or bullied or dominated. I support women's rights in that sense 100%. Now, here is the governor of Maine, Janet Mills. Let's hear what she has to say about all of what's going on.
Let me also say, this isn't about who plays on the playing field, as I said, on the athletic field. This is also a diversionary tactic. You know, in the media, that the current administration is taking a lot of heat in other courts across this country, including in the District of Columbia right now and in Maryland right now, for other deprivations of due process, as alleged.
Didn't I mention the senator in Maryland? See, are you on his side? And at this point, his side is not looking out for your constituents, not doing what your constituents are asking you to do. They're getting on TV and they're expressing themselves. Patty Moore and Rachel Moore's mom got on TV and expressed herself. Meanwhile, the senators over in El Salvador fighting for him. You got women and girls coming on television telling you, hey, we need to get boys out of girl sports. These are your constituents, and you're just ignoring them. That's a problem.
So to me, these kinds of actions and press conferences are a diversionary tactic. From what? From what the real issues are facing families across Maine, families across the United States. Let me also say.
All right, so that's that. Again, this is the governor of Maine, Janet Mills. So shout out to the Mainers, everybody out there, Bangor, you know, all the places out there by the border speaking French, parlez-vous français, all that good stuff. That Montreal Canadian French. Shout out to y'all out there. I feel bad for y'all to have her as a governor. I really do. That's terrible. There's a lot of good people up there, and y'all don't deserve this individual. You don't deserve to have that. You guys deserve better, in my humble opinion. We all deserve better than politicians who don't serve the interests of their constituents. I think we all, as American citizens, deserve better than that. Now, as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to all the logical people, whether you black, white, Puerto Rican, the Candy Stripe, LGBT, straight as a narrow, whatever you are. Shout out to all people that have common sense, who understand that you cannot have biological men compete against women. You cannot have biological boys compete against girls. And to the elected officials, your Janet Mills, governor of Maine, Chris Van Hollen, the senator out there in Maryland who went to El Salvador to meet with the MS-13 gang member, to you people, what I want y'all to do is focus on your constituents. You guys focus on Donald Trump and the Orange Man. Okay, that's fine. But what are you in office to actually do? Are you there to just be on a hate tour against the president, or are you there to represent your constituents? If you're there for the latter, then I can't tell. Because whenever I see y'all on TV, it's about going at the Orange Man. How about just looking at what's happening in your state, in your area, in your district, town, city? Look at what's happening right there and make sure that's on point. That's all you really should be doing. All the extra higher office type stuff, trying to become the president, trying to career climb. That's not what you're there for. You're there to serve the people. And if you can't, you should go ahead and do something else with your time. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about the governor of Maine, Janet Mills, and her reaction to press conferences and whatnot about boys and girls sports, about men and women's sports in Maine. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. It seems like this lady is not, it seems like she doesn't really care about her constituents, and that's not very good. If I was in Maine or Maryland or anywhere else where the governor didn't care, the mayor of my city didn't care, the senator didn't care, why would I care to go out there and vote for them ever again? If anything, I would care to lead a recall effort and get them up out of the way. That's just how I feel about it. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that is all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.